Yeah, let's give him a hand. I mean, he doesn't need anything else to blow up his ego, right? So what we're going to do is, first, for those of you who are just a little bit of an intro into the crucifix, I'm just going to show a quick thing. We're not going to drill it, but just the crucifix position, right? On your back. Yep. Yeah. So this is where we want to get to. This is crucifix position. Like this? All right? Yeah. Right there in the middle. This is crucifix position. I am controlling his one arm with my legs. I'm controlling his other arm with my arms, a combination of my arms, and I'm controlling with my chest, all right? I never want crucifix with him completely on his back or me to be completely on my back, all right? We want this kind of perpendicular angle to the back position. There are many things that you can do when they're trying to push you and pull you. We're not going to focus on that, but this is where we're trying to get to, all right? A lot of the times, I just come in here with the seatbelt grip, bottom legs. Just a real quick detail here is I do not like a figure four. Almost anywhere in jiu-jitsu, I hate figure four. The reason I hate it is because you have a tendency to gap your knees when you're in a figure four position. And so there's no compression, no squeeze with your thighs. And so whenever you're doing any of this crucifix stuff, I really prefer to have an ankle cross and a leg pinch. When your ankles are crossed, you have a tendency to be a little bit more conscious about your thigh clench, right? So this is where we're going to get to. But how do we get there, all right? I'm going to show you one entry. It's a little bit unorthodox. So say we passed his guard, we went to cradle, or we're in side control. When Mike is in side control, I don't typically want somebody to stay flat on their back like this, right? I'm always going towards the back. If not for crucifix, then for back control, because I'm going to have a lot more success with that. So, that being said, when I'm passing, I want to get to this position. So whether you have a cradle, right, or just this simple position, you want his back, if you're going to the back, you want his back exposed, all right? I want to use the top of my chest up here to keep the top portion of his back up in this perpendicular angle, all right? So if I'm out here and my chest is on top of him, he can easily get his shoulders to the mat, all right? Once he gets his shoulders to the mat, he can start making space. So there's a lot of older people in here. Do you remember glamour shots? There, all right? You want glamour shots. You want your chin connected to his shoulder. You want the top shelf. For the ladies, we actually have a nice built-in shelf here, but you want the shelf of your chest to be against his shoulder blade, right here, all right? And I have active toes, none of this seal feet. I really don't like the seal feet kind of stuff in jiu-jitsu. I like to have my toes active, and if anything, I have very minimal surface area on the mat because I want everything driving into him. So when he tries to get his back to the mat, there's no way, Jose, right? So if he cannot get his back to the mat, what is his second option? Turtle. Fucking turtle up. Now in my normal crucifix class, we learn a couple entries when they're in a tight turtle, but I love getting into crucifix as they're going into turtle. Because with movement comes space, with movement comes opportunity. Opportunity to attack, and opportunity to escape. So I would rather him be moving when I'm entering into a position. Because I know that he has two options from this position. He can either get his back to the mat, I'm eliminating that, or he can turtle up. I know he's gonna turtle up. I'm forcing the turtle. And I know that especially if I'm putting enough pressure and driving him forward, but also keeping him tight to me, he's gonna have to either get up to his elbow or get up to his hands to kind of build up and try to build into turtle. What that does, and so if I'm putting pressure on him and I'm both squeezing and pushing him this way, if he tries to get to turtle, right, he's gonna have to build up on this bottom arm, and that's gonna leave that space. for me to drive into. So there's two options, depending on how much they build up. But he's halfway through the turtle. Use your imagination. He's halfway through the turtle, freeze frame here. I'm either taking my knee inside, just the knee. If you don't have hip mobility, you're only gonna get the knee, all right? If you do have the hip mobility and he's built up into his arm, boom, I just sling it in, all right? But if you don't, and most of you won't, you're just gonna get the little bit of the knee and my other hand comes in, I open like a door. So I teach this in my 101 from a really static position, but it works even better in a movement position, all right? I just the tip of my knee, open the door of his hand, or of his arm, boom, and I slingshot this inside leg in and clamp it down. And then we're here, all right? In movement, he's probably not finished with his his turtled movement as I throw my legs in, and so I'm just gonna keep the movement going into a roll. We're gonna end up in this crucifix position, all right? A lot of little details, but the devil's in the details, all right? So we get to this position here. I'm forcing him into that turtle position. I recognize that he's in that turtle. If you want to slow a turtle, all you have to do is pinch that elbow down. He's in the way, but that's the point. When he's in the way and I pinch that elbow down, I go from 130 pounds to 200. Let's go. Go, 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 go. Boom, he's gonna build up. As soon as he builds up, that knee comes in, open the hand like a door, slap it in, and you have your crucifix position. We're gonna continue with it, so we're rolling on the inside shoulder, not the outside shoulder. I'm looking towards his head, not towards his ass, all right? Boom. So I could go over the entries and the rolls forever, right? But that's Crucifix 101, right? So we're gonna get into the fun shit. But just for a little bit of a review, right? So back up. We're here. I'm not fast enough, or maybe he's just too quick, right? And he gets to that solidified turtle position, and then I'm entering however I entered in the Crucifix 101. Now, if you find that it's difficult, so with the rollover, and I failed to mention this before because I wanted to get through it, but you're using just one hand to control. So this outside hand, so the head side hand is controlling that arm. And it's just a lift up. It's just this kind of no-gi false grip, right? Just like that. This other hand leaves you free. If you're doing the roll, you're gonna base, kind of looking, it gives you a place to look at, right? Maybe look at your nails, if you just got them manicured. You're looking at them, and that's where you're gonna roll. That'll keep you from rolling over your own neck. You can still get the crucifix. If you roll the wrong way, it's just not gonna be as delightful, right? For your own stuff. But if they are a big guy, maybe you missed the opportunity to use their momentum to initiate that roll, right? And they're being real obstinate. Let's pretend that, like, Mike's a huge guy, right? I can't get in there, right? This other hand gives them a nice, friendly little cross face, right? And then I just take them back, right? You get to the same position. It's not as sexy, but you're there, all right? Now, first and foremost, and I ended the Crucifix 101 class with this, but we're gonna work on it just because it's one of my favorite submissions to get from Crucifix is the armbar. It's a little bit tricky, but it's such a good tool, all right? Because at the very least, if you don't get the armbar, they're so focused on the armbar that you're gonna have an opportunity to do any of the other attacks, right? Whenever I'm attacking the armbar, I'm also attacking the neck, right? This hand is always gonna be there to attack the neck. So when you go from here, I really want you to try to attack the neck. You may not get it. You may not get it. It's a short choke. It's not a full naked choke, right? But as you're attacking the choke, he's thinking about the choke. He may be bringing this arm up to try to protect against the choke. What is he not thinking of? His arm, all right? So an arm bar, or the arm bar works the whether you're doing it from guard, from fucking wherever you're gonna do an armbar. It works the exact same. And in the crucifix, you have to be aware of these things. What I'm doing is I'm controlling the shoulder, I'm controlling the wrist, and I'm exerting pressure in the opposite direction of the elbow. Elbow bends this way, it doesn't bend that way, all right? So keep that in mind as you're executing the armbar with your legs, is it's gonna be a little bit of a feel thing. For me, it does not matter if my bottom leg is the clutch leg or my top leg is the clutch leg. If you feel like you need to switch them, or if your injury caused you to go like this, right, and you need the bottom leg, and for these next submissions, we're gonna need the bottom leg, all you have to do is think like a cricket, all right? Crickets, everybody's like, ooh. Yes, you bring your heel to the inside of your knee pit, and you just drive down. Inside of the knee pit, drive down, and that's gonna switch it without giving you all that space, and he's gonna get his arm out, all right? So we ended up here. What I like to do with the arm bar is I like to get my ankles as close to his wrist as possible. Never go past the wrist, right? You're always above the wrist. So if you have really long legs, I'm not blessed in that way, but if you have really long legs, think small by bringing your knees to your nose, all right? Take that space away so that you're not losing the wrist. So I like to cross pretty close to the wrist. That's gonna lock out the arm in a straight angle. And now this is where the feel comes in. I have to recognize that my hips need to exert pressure in the opposite direction of the elbow. I can feel, without even looking, that his elbow's kind of pointed that direction, right? And so I'm just gonna, I like to flare my legs. You may find the flare is not necessary. You may find that it is. I'm gonna flare my knees out, and I'm going to exert pressure in the opposite direction of the elbow, all right? I wanna feel his elbow in the region of my pelvis. So if you find yourself here, you may not be able to get full extension. If you find yourself too far towards the elbow, you may lose the elbow. So you're gonna have to find that happy place for you, for your own specific body, where you can feel that that elbow is nestled in the cradle of your hips, right? I'm gonna find his wrist with my ankles, making sure that I don't open, right? If I need to switch it out, I'm going to. Sometimes I use my feet like hands. That's a little bit more advanced, but go ahead and play with it if you feel the need to. And then I'm gonna start feeling, okay, that elbow's kind of like there, right? If he turns his wrist and he turns his thumb, now the elbow's pointed in a very different direction. I'm gonna follow the elbow with my hips, right? He turns his thumb again, very different direction. I really can't get it here. I'm gonna do the cricket. Ooh, there it is, all right? So let's start with this. He's probably, let's just go to the crucifix. Let's get some more time in the submissions together, all right? So real quick, this other hand, I love to keep this false grip, but I like the pad of their hand, especially in a no-gi grip, right? I'm always looking for this little handle here. And I'm not keeping it away from his body like this. We're not waving to his mom in the stands, all right? I am pretending that he has a knife in his hand, and I'm gonna stab him in the chest with it. I want it nice and tight.
That's the reference you picked?
Yes. It's my favorite one. So we're getting good at here. This other hand, that leaves that open to start attacking the chokes. Well, maybe he's just really super tight with this chin, and maybe he's just really obstinate with that arm. Maybe I can't do the cricket, I can't get in there, or he's really flexible and I really can't expose that armbar like I want. I'm gonna just attack the neck. And so, a lot of these neck submissions come from abandoning the crucifix. But the reason I start from crucifix to get into them is because they get so fucking tight. Because he's sick and tired of being in crucifix. This is a shitty position for him. He's getting desperate. And I'm gonna count on this desperation to create movement. What does movement create? Opportunity. Fucking opportunity. And space. All right? So this hand, this free hand, this is our attacking hand. This is the most important hand in the crucifix position. position. This one is just kind of doing like the backup job. It's just trying to keep this hand here and keep his body from going in that direction. Because if you've got to recognize that if I release his arm, which way is he turning? This way, right? If I release his other arm, he's turning that way, right? Just recognize that. And both of those reactions are going to present different opportunities. All right, so back to this hand, our favorite hand. This is my favorite hand. I broke my finger years ago, and this is my party finger, so it kind of goes off to the other side. So my favorite hand comes over, and I go elbow first. So I don't kind of wrap. I go elbow first because I want that nice, strong structural strength of my lats and my trap to turn his chin away. All right? So I'm bringing this up, I'm driving, I'm using that elbow to really turn his head away. And now from here, I want him to turn this way. So what am I going to do? Release his hand. Release his hand. He thinks he has an avenue to escape. As he's escaping, I'm building up to my elbow. He's turning, he's turning, he's turning. That thumb is turning too. And I have the nastiest, deepest guillotine ever. All right? So without a person, what it looks like is I have him, my imaginary person, in my crucifix. I bring this elbow down. I get it nice and tight. I turn his chin, using that elbow to turn his chin. I'm releasing this hand. It's going to encourage him to go that way. As he's going that way, because of the connection of my tricep with his body, he almost brings me up to my elbow. I don't even have to work to get to my elbow. All right, so we end up here. As he's going, I'm turning that thumb down and getting ready to slot it into that crucifix choke. But I'm not leaving that connection. That stays connected to his neck the entire time. Connection, connection, connection. I get here, and then I shift to my other butt cheek. All right, so it's on this butt cheek, shift to the other butt cheek, and just fucking squeeze. All right, I have a really technical guillotine transition, but for this position, you're so tight, just squeeze. All right? One more time. No. Let's go this way. All right, so we're here. The choke's not working. The arm bar's not working. He's not letting me have it. So I'm bringing my favorite arm, top side arm. Elbow goes down. I'm pushing his head that way. Right? As soon as I got in a good spot, I'm releasing this hand, encouraging that. Because I have that much connection, he's bringing me up. And so I'm going up to my hand. As soon as he's on his knees, I shuck myself to my other butt cheek. I like this arm out guillotine the best. And so all you have to do is just fucking squeeze. All right? If you want to be really technical about it, you can come over your knuckles, grab that pad of your hand, that's that nice little grip handle, and just kind of pull it up. His neck is in here. When I am here and I pull everything up, the neck's there, right? No space. And that's what we want. And he builds up, I make it really tough for him so that it creates that movement and that opportunity. All right, I'm gonna do the sexy roll. We get to the sexy roll. We're here. I can't get the arm. I can't get the choke. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Remember, we're leading with that elbow. One of the things that I try to always impart in any of my seminars is the golden rule of jiu-jitsu. The golden rule states that if you are attacking, you are taking space. If you are defending, you're creating space. So because I'm attacking, I want to take all the fucking space I can get, all right? I never take great photos at tournaments because I'm always looking like a little gargoyle, all right? So I want to take all that space. I want connection. I want it to be super tight. So when I give him that opportunity, I'm coming up with him. Now, I'm not going to try for the neck because maybe his body or maybe he's tight, so tight that I can't get in there. I'm not going to create that space so that I can get the guillotine because that's counterintuitive to my goals, right? I'm going to take all that space and I'm going to keep that fucking space. And so if I can't get the guillotine, I'm just going to keep letting him roll up. I'm coming out the armpit, all right? As soon as I'm out the armpit, I'm going to, same grip with that kind of that palm grip, all right? right?
Which is great.
But I'm coming up, and so if you can't get the guillotine, so that would be in front of their shoulder, go out the armpit. But when you finish going out the armpit, you're not just squeezing up, you're pulling, you're trying to birth that arm out his armpit. All right? If I can pull it out, that's going to squeeze that neck, and it's going to compress his back. And because of the angle at which my arm is driving his head down, not only is it a choke, but I'm bending his back in this really uncomfortable position, which is what I love, right? I love misery. All right, one more time. So we're here, I make it really difficult. I get into that crucifix position. Maybe I don't want to be so sexy, so I sit to this inside butt cheek, and I bring him head back here. I try for my single arm choke, it's not working. I try for my arm bar, it's not working. I'm coming here. Now he's smaller, and so I'm not gonna have a lot of opportunity to get that guillotine super tight. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna recognize it. I keep that leg, because that leg's gonna open that space, right? See how I opened his armpit? And now that hand is gonna shoot through the armpit. As soon as I see that hand, I'm gonna birth it. Right? I know all the guys here are like really uncomfortable right now whenever I say that word. But really pull it out, right? And find those adjustments. I like to finish everything on that opposite butt cheek. I started here, and I'm coming here. Because if at all possible, I'm gonna try to release this leg, get it over that back. Because as soon as he feels a choke, anytime a guillotine choke, he's gonna try to roll. If I don't have that leg kind of securing his back in some form or another, he's going to successfully roll. Fine, I'll land on top, I'll finish it from top. But some of the people who aren't as proficient with the guillotine may lose it, right? So we started here. I have this nice back control position. I want him up perpendicular because it's going to expose that back. He can either get for two options from the side control position, is he either turns towards me and gets his guard back, or he turtles up. I know those are only two options. So if I take away the option of him being able to get into his back and turn towards me, he only has the turtle. So I'm gonna make it real difficult with the turtle by pinching that elbow down. That's gonna slow him down. It's gonna make me heavier, right? He's gonna get desperate. He's gonna create that space, and that's gonna allow me to put my knee behind his tricep. I'm opening his bicep like a door. I'm slipping that leg in. I'm trapping it. You can do the sexy way by rolling forward onto this inside shoulder, or you can just sit back onto that inside butt cheek and just cross face him into that crucifix position, right? As I'm attacking the armbar, I'm also attacking the neck. That's gonna get his focus over here and not here. I'm gonna find his elbow. It's gonna take a little bit of adjustment, right? If I need to switch my legs, I do a cricket. I bring my heel to my elbow or the inside of my knee, and I pull out, right? I don't want to go too far. I don't want to go past his wrist. I want to stay up above his wrist. I'm going to find his elbow as close to the cradle of my hips as possible. That's going to guide me in how I'm going to armbar him. I feel that it's kind of turned this way, so I'm going to flare my elbows or my knees just a little bit, and I'm going to exert pressure in the opposite direction of the elbow. This isn't working, so I'm going to do something else, right? Maybe he's too stubborn here, he's too stubborn here. I'm going to bring my elbow down. I'm turning his face. Because his face is turning that way, and I release this hand, he's going to turn that way. He's often going to take the bait. I'm keeping tight. That's going to help me get to my elbow, get to my hand. I sit from cheek to cheek. I bring my thumb up to my face, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just squeeze and pull that hand up. All right? Ideally, I want this leg over. Don't worry about it, though, if it gets stuck. If that doesn't work, or if his body type's too tight, or if I just want to do something different, right? I bring that here, same very beginning, is I'm going to give him that bait. I'm going to release that arm. He comes out, instead of going in front of his shoulder, I go behind his shoulder. I come out his armpit. I'm still sitting cheek to cheek. I'm grabbing that meaty part of my thumb, and I'm pulling. I'm trying to pull it out. I'm birthing it through his armpit, right? At the same time, I like to drop my rib cage and really drive that down and squeeze the shit out of him, right?